Module 7 Networking Skills. Many people consider networking to be a four-letter word. But the fact is, efficient networking can be the difference between applying for a job and applying and getting a job. You are not expected to have all the answers when it comes to networking, but knowing where to get those answers can be critical during your job search. What is networking? Networking is the art of making social contacts in your spheres of influence. It begins where you are and letting the closest to you know your interests and goals. As you communicate enthusiastically your vision and goals for gaining the job of your dreams, your social network of friends, family, and acquaintances become extra pairs of eyes and ears. They know people that may be interested in what you have to offer. Through the hundreds of social contacts you have through family, religious affiliations, school, friends, and neighbors, you are immediately in contact with hundreds and thousands of people in a short period of time. Getting a conversation started. Begin by talking to family members, make phone calls, and catching up on family news. Ask them with genuine interest how they are and what they have been doing. Let them know your plans and how excited you are about the opportunities that are opening up to you. Ask them to keep an eye out for anyone who may need someone with your skills and abilities. Greet neighbors who may be out in their yard. Stop by and say hi. Ask questions about their family and work life. Let them know of your plans to seek a new career direction. Ask them to let you know of any opportunities they become aware of for someone who needs a person with your qualifications. Make a list of everyone you know. Use numbers in your cell phone. Consult rosters and directories of religious organizations and Rotary Club. Talk with other parents at local PTA meetings. Make a target goal to share your vision and goal with at least 10 people per day. But I'm so nervous. Fear is a natural emotion that we all face. Those who succeed are not people who do not have fear. They are ones who learn the trick of feeling the fear and doing it anyway, according to motivational speaker and writer Jack Canfield. You cannot allow your fear to do the driving. Approach your fear as if it were a small child and acknowledge that what you are doing is a bit frightening. Then advise your fear that you intend to go for it anyway. The reality is that the worst thing that can happen is already true. You do not have a job now. If you get rejected, you still do not have a job, so little has changed. This means that life can only get better. This attitude will help calm fears and allow you to take charge of them. Wrapping up and moving on. While you are doing the work of networking, make sure you carry business cards wherever you go. Make exchanging business cards a normal part of your day. Say something such as, "Here, let me leave you with my contact information. If you hear of any opportunities like the ones we have been talking about, be sure to let me know." Be receptive if they wish to exchange cards with you as well. Avoid talking about the reason for leaving your last position or how long you have been unemployed. Also, it is not productive to talk about economic needs and stress you are going through while you are looking for a job. The focus needs to be on communicating your vision and your decision to do something about it.
Victor generally shied away and hid in the shadows so he could avoid talking to his coworkers. Victor's manager, Craig, saw this and offered to help. Craig helped Victor realize that being nervous was normal, and once you see that, it was easier to move forward. He asked Victor, what's the worst that could happen? Victor thought about it and soon realized that his nervousness was basically the worst part, and he soon gained a little confidence. The little bit of confidence helped Victor calm fears and allowed him to come out of the shadows. He used his new go for it attitude and began to really blossom and become a stronger member for the team.
Module 8 Skills for Success. Organization comes in several forms. Whether it's properly filing documentation or being on time for a task, this characteristic is a crucial skill to your success. Keeping a positive attitude will help you with your skill development. It is also very important to keep your skills sharp, especially when they are not being utilized on a full-time basis. Being organized. Success in your quest to find the job of your dreams depends a great deal on your ability to be organized. You must know each day what it is you need to do in order to gain the next interview that could open the door to the opportunity you are seeking. Your time and resources are limited, and you must maintain both motivation and organization in your effort to gain employment. Both a calendar and a list for each day can go a long way to keeping you on track toward your goal. Becoming a punctual person. Being on time is a highly important habit to have in the business world. Delivery services, transportation services, emergency response units, and many other workers face serious and life-threatening consequences if they are not on time. In an agricultural economy, the cow cares little if the farmer arrives 15 minutes late to milk it. A plane that does not arrive on time can cause hundreds of people to miss appointments and business opportunities in the community. Punctuality and the ability to meet deadlines is one of the distinguishing characteristics of successful people in business. I can do this. One of the biggest obstacles in the way of your success is discouragement. At the heart of discouragement lies self-doubt. The voice inside your head that whispers, "You'll never make it, you might as well give up, and you'll never amount to anything," are all lies. The truth is, you can do this. It does not come easy in many cases. It does require work. You need to take a chance and overcome your fears and learn to accept no as an answer. Every time you hear no, say, "Next!" If you keep searching, you will find the job your skills and abilities match. The only way you won't is if you quit looking. Important etiquette points. Good manners go a long way in making a good impression on a potential employer. Make proper eye contact. Say please and thank you during the interview. Greet people with a friendly and firm handshake. Use good posture by sitting up properly in the chair during the interview. Write thank you notes to those who have been helpful and encouraging in the job search process. All these habits can build your image as a person of success.
John was up against the clock again. He always seemed to be running in circles. Any thought of being on time flew out the window as soon as he'd been given a task. John needed help. Mary marched right into John's office with a plan in her hand. Mary laid down the plan, and John sank in his chair at the thought of how painful the process would be. Mary assured him that time wasn't the enemy and, instead, punctuality could save him, as he usually dug a pretty big hole for himself. Mary loaned him a watch and coached him in setting up a great agenda and calendar app she used. With these new tools, John had the upper hand with his battle with punctuality, and it allowed him plenty of wiggle room to get his tasks done before they were due.
Module 9, Where to Look. A good job means nothing if you don't know where to find it. This module will give insight into sources to consider when searching for employment opportunities. Some people say looking for a job will be the hardest job you will ever have. The obvious places. Employers make their positions and job openings known many times through classified ads in local newspapers. They also post openings on websites such as www.workopolis.com and www.monster.com. These easy-access advertisements are a good place to start. Because of their obvious nature, they also attract the high volume of responses and make the competition for these positions even more intense. The hidden job market. While the classified ads and other mass media provide a place where companies can draw a large sample of lower-skilled workers from the labor pool, many more desirable positions are not publicly advertised. Companies seeking highly skilled workers to fill specific areas of responsibility may employ recruiters and headhunters to find talent. By contacting the Human Resources Department of companies in the industry you would like to work, you can gain access to the internally communicated list of job openings. You may ask to send your resume directly to the HR department of a company for whom you would like to work. About cold calling. Some job seekers, in order to keep active in the job search, resort to cold calling companies and ask if they are hiring. This practice is highly ineffective and should be discouraged as a part of a successful job hunting strategy. For the company receiving the call, it costs them time and money to answer your question whether they may be interested or not. It makes you appear desperate and less desirable of a candidate. Your time is much better spent networking with people in the industry and building up social contacts that will lead to a job more naturally when one opens up. The power of networking. Networking is clearly better than cold calling when searching for a job. Here are some advantages of networking. Increases your confidence, saves time and energy going to interviews with low potential, helps you find a job with the kind of people you already know and enjoy, helps you get more interviews in less time, multiplies your efforts by having a team of people looking out for your interests.
Maud searched and searched, but was not seeing any great leads for a new job. With her thinking cap on, she scrolled through page after page of job openings. Eagle-eyed Christine opened up her laptop and joined in on Maud's search and offered to help her in the job search. Maud agreed that two heads would be better than one. They both sat there for hours, but still could not really find anything promising. Christine then suggested to Maud just call businesses in her area. Maud thought about it and decided all she had to lose was the time, and she had lots of that. To her surprise, she ended up gaining 3 promising leads and was set up for 3 interviews next week.
Module 10, Understanding the Interview. The interview is a very important part of the job search process that you should focus on. How you perform during the interview could make the difference between you getting the job and walking home empty-handed. Types of interviews. Direct interview. This interview generally just involves the candidate and the hiring manager. It is a relatively rigid format of which the hiring manager relies upon his or her straightforward questions to acquire all of the information he or she wants to know about you. Behavioral interview. The behavioral interview is one that focuses more on the candidate's problem-solving skills, leadership, conflict resolution, stress management, etc. The questions are usually asked in the format that requires the candidate to think of specific examples to prove the point. The questions are many times phrased as, "Tell me about a time when," or "What would you do if?" This type of interview may be considered a bit more intense than a direct interview. Group interview. Employers use group interviews to gauge how well candidates interact with each other. Although interviewing with other candidates may be overwhelming, if you keep track of the interviewer to make sure you don't miss out on any important signals, you may prove to be a viable candidate. Panel interview. A panel interview consists of several representatives of the company. Their job is to judge what you say as well as your actions. The best way to master such an interview is to remain calm at all times and be mindful of your body language, the words you speak and the meaning those words give. What to expect. Going into the interview with confidence depends on knowing what to expect and being prepared to respond to the situations you face with security and self-assurance. Interviewees can expect to greet the employer or hiring manager with a cordial handshake and be invited to sit for the interview. They can also be expected to answer questions about their qualifications and experience. Employers will expect the candidate to have informed questions that reflect both interest and some prior knowledge of the company and the nature of the work. It is also reasonable to expect a delay in the decision to hire. Most interviews do not result in an immediate decision. About behavioral questions. When you enter into an interview, it is vital to know what kinds of questions you can expect to be asked as well as how to handle potential questions that may be inappropriate for the job interview context. The use of behavioral questions is a tool used by many employers to understand your thought process when confronted with certain situations. Many of these questions begin with, "Tell me a time when." About knowledge questions. Specific questions about knowledge related to the job and career may intimidate some candidates. It may be acceptable to reply that you do not know, but are great at learning new information and resourceful enough to find the answer if given the opportunity. Both question of behavior and knowledge can either make or break your interview.
Isabel was quickly losing steam in her search for a better job. She was able to get the initial interview, but was never called back. Isabel knows she has lots of experience and a unique skill set, but always found the interview process a challenge. Her coworker, Paul, thought that he held the solution to Isabel's long journey. Paul offered to coach her on some great interviewing tricks. Paul gave Isabel a breakdown on the general types of questions and how they are graded. Together they practiced, and Isabel was soon seeing the mistakes she made in the past and now able to avoid them with ease. With her new interview skills, she landed a great position at a promising startup.
Module 11, Interview Skills. Going into an interview without preparation is never advisable. The goal is to do everything within your power to present yourself as the best candidate for the job. Dressing the part and practicing the way you will answer and ask questions is vital to the success of the interview. Dressing for success. From the first handshake to final farewell, you are going to be evaluated on your poise, appearance, posture, skills, abilities, and persuasiveness. Your ability to respond to pressure and even your own mistakes will tell the employer much about the kind of person you are. Answering questions. The ability to answer a question well requires good listening skills as well as speaking ability. Anticipating the kind of questions you will be asked helps prepare you for the interview. Before answering, make sure you understand the question completely. Feel free to ask for clarification of any part of the question you may not understand. If you do not know the answer to that question, be prepared to respond in a way that does not show a lack of confidence or ability to obtain an answer. Know your boundaries and what kinds of questions you should or should not answer. Make your answers brief and to the point. Do not give far more information than the question itself requires. Asking questions. Asking pertinent questions is a great way to gain the respect of the employer and to demonstrate that you have an awareness of the nature of the company and the kind of work they do. Relevant questions demonstrate a curiosity and awareness that they are not only interviewing you, but you are interviewing them. The employer-employee relationship is not one-sided. Your comfort and happiness in the job is just as important as their satisfaction with you as a member of the team. Following up. Following up after an interview is one of the important yet forgotten acts of the job search process. Not only is it courteous to thank the person you interviewed with for their time, but following up is a very good way to reiterate your interest in the position without being a nuisance. Many ask the question of how they should follow up with the interviewer. This depends on several factors. If at some point during your conversation the interviewer says, "The best way to reach me is," then you want to adhere to the request. It is not okay to disregard the interviewer's request to be emailed and follow up with a phone call because you think that it shows more drive. If the interviewer does not specify a method of contact and you have a business card with an email address and phone number, you may want to consider the least intrusive method, email. If the only information you have is a phone number, make a quick but impactful call.
Zane was stressed. He would rather run a mile backwards than march into another interview room. Leah could see the stress on Zane's face and came to his rescue. She was able to put a spotlight on his problems that showed him what hid underneath his fear. Zane discovered a hidden anxiety problem right under his nose. Leah had just the ticket to break Zane free from his troubles. She was able to enlighten him in the aspects of answering and asking questions during an interview. These little tricks opened the doors to a glowing interview, and, with a little push in the right direction, he bought himself a new suit. Zane was amazed at the feeling he had when wearing it. He was miles away from the old Zane and was now in a zone of success and left the fear lagging far behind.
Although this workshop is coming to a close, we hope that your journey to improve and apply the skills you learned is just beginning. Please take a moment to review and update your action plan. This will be a key tool to guide your progress in the days, weeks, months, and years to come. We wish you the best of luck.